Hello there you guys, welcome to one of my live videos, and today I'm just going to be officially updating you on some more current transfer rumours and gossip. So if you do consider drop your likes, and if you do consider subscribe to the channel as always. So we do know that we need a massive overhaul this summer, of course, because you can see the deficiencies in the squad, and you can identify the areas of course where Manchester United are lacking. And obviously Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is looking to bring at least 5 new additions to the squad this summer. Obviously, as you all know, we have got our first signing on the board through Daniel James. But obviously, we're going to want to now build on that and get another 4 or 5 more players in. Obviously, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has worked out his transfer strategy for this summer. He wants to recommend a number of young players to come in, that can grow, develop and emulate into superstars. And obviously, he wants to recruit British talents, because obviously, there's quite a lot of British players on Manchester United's agenda. But we do need to see vast improvements, going on into next season of obviously, what we saw last season, because last season, was very, very disappointing. We finished 6th and obviously, didn't win any silverware. So we need to see vast improvements, of course, going on into next season. In terms of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and all that, probably, we do need to give him time, of course, obviously, to spend this summer and then see what happens, of course, going on into the new season. And I really, really like Ole Gunnar Solskjaer a lot, but I don't know if he's got, the capabilities, to elevate Manchester United forward. And I don't know if he can get us in that commanding position, of course, where we do currently want to be. Time will tell, of course, going on into next season. But I still love Ole Gunnar Solskjaer a lot. He was a great player for Manchester United, for 11 years. I know he hasn't really got the experience of a manager, not to the highest level, especially. And this is what, does concern me about him. But like I said, I still love him a lot. And obviously, I don't want us to sack Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, like I said, because we haven't got the structure to keep sacking managers. Obviously, we've already sacked 3 managers, since Alex Ferguson retired. But let's be honest, we have been playing catch up for the last 5 or 6 years. Obviously, a lot of money's been invested into the club. We've had different managers with different philosophies. We've seen, players come in. Of course, we have seen players go. Obviously, the majority of the money I've spent over the years has obviously, been on, the wrong players with the wrong mentality and all that. But you can blatantly see, that these are cultural problems at the club. So obviously, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer this summer is looking to bring players in who he thinks are going to fit the culture of the club, who he thinks are going to fit the history of the club. And Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, of course, is looking to buy into our history. But he still believes we can attract players to the highest level, even though we're not in a Champions League football for next season. So he still believes we can do this. I think it's going to be hard for us to get our number 1 targets, because obviously, Champions League football is very, very pivotal when you want to get your number 1 targets. But I know we've been a toxic club, for the last 5 or 6 years. But let's be honest, we've been mismanaged in the last 5 or 6 years. But obviously, looking at, we're still one of the biggest clubs in the world. Obviously, we're the most successful team, in England, historically, and all, 13 Premier Leagues, obviously, 20 all in all, that. But I said, regardless of who our current manager is, no one's going to ever, follow Alex Ferguson's legacy, because obviously, we had 20 odd years of success under Alex Ferguson and that, and we're not going to achieve, we're never going to achieve with what we achieved under Alex Ferguson. But all we want to be is, we want to get back to being a competitive elite level football club. But it's going to take us, quite a few years, to get us back to where we currently want to be and all that. I do believe our expectations going on into next season will be probably, to finish in the top 4, maybe in the Carabao Cup, maybe in the Europa League. But yeah, I think in the next couple of seasons, our aspirations is going to be, definitely that top 4. I've heard quite a few people saying, if we get the right players to Manchester United, some of them do believe we can go for the league next season, challenge for it, even maybe a winner of the league, of course. But I don't see this currently happening. Obviously, we haven't won the league for 6 years. Obviously, the last time we won it was back in 2013 in Alex Ferguson's last season. Obviously, the last trophy was won. The last trophy we won was the Europa League back in 2017. So obviously, at the moment, City are the dominant force in English football. Obviously, their strides ahead of us at the moment. Even Liverpool, of course, our strides ahead of us. Obviously, they won the Champions League and all that. Obviously, Manchester City won the treble and all that. And so the strides ahead of us at the moment. So it's very imperative that we catch up with the likes of Manchester City, that we catch up with the likes of Liverpool and all. So we've got to get the right recruitment this summer, because analysing our recruitment policy, it's extremely, very, very poor. Obviously, we didn't get anyone in January. Obviously, we didn't get as a, number 1 targets last summer. But like I said, I hope it works out for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer at Manchester United now. The question is, though, is he going to be able to succeed in these conditions now, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer? Because we do know now it's looking likely, we're not going to be appointing a sporting director and all that. So obviously, this means that Ed Woodward, will be overseeing our transfers this summer, our transfer business this summer. And I'm really, really disappointed about this, because like I said, I think we needed to get a director of football in, to change the structure of the club and all that. But now it's looking like we're not getting a sporting director in. So obviously, we're going to have to stick with the same structure and all that. So is Ole Gunnar Solskjaer going to be able to succeed in these conditions? But there were so many names, linked with that director as well at Manchester United. There were, I think there were Paul Mitchell linked with it once. Obviously, I think also Edwin van der Sar, Patrice Evra, Darren Aaron Fletcher, Rio Ferdinand, like I said. So there were so many names, linked with that director as well at Manchester United. But it's looking likely now, like I said, we're not getting a Sporting director in. So that's extremely, very, very disappointing, of course. But like I said, you can see the deficiencies in our squad. Like I said, I think, we need 2 central defenders because we've got issues defensively. We conceded 54 goals in the Premier League last season, and I don't think we've had a world-class central defender, since we had the likes of Vidic and Ferdinand and all that, because they were a fantastic centre-back partnership under Alex Ferguson. Like I said, we definitely need a right-back. We need a goalkeeper if David De Gea, of course, does leave the club. I think if Pogba leaves, we need 3 new additions in that midfield. I think we also need a right winger, and I think we also need a striker, and especially if Romelu Lukaku, of course, leads the club and all that. So, there's lots to address this summer. I expect probably maybe 4 or 5 players to leave Manchester United this summer. I think another problem with Manchester United as well, we have let far too many players' contracts run down. So we do know there's a lot of players on Manchester United's agenda, as they have been updating you on a regular basis. So like I said, I think the next signing probably now could be, Bruno Fernandes from Sporting Lisbon, because it's looking very imminent. He's set to come to Manchester United, Bruno Fernandes. Nothing has been fully finalised as yet. It didn't, as you say, was it last week that Manchester United had scheduled a meeting with Sporting Lisbon, to get a deal, finalised for Bruno Fernandes. Now, Bruno Fernandes did say basically, he would talk to Sporting Lisbon about leaving. If a team came up with an offer, that he couldn't currently refuse. He still mentions that he watches the Italian Championship and all that, and he did say he watches Inter Milan, and I think Inter Milan are in for Bruno Fernandes. But Bruno Fernandes did spend the majority of his career in Italy, when he was younger and all that, with Sampdoria and underneath did Bruno Fernandes, and he's been now in Portugal with Sporting Lisbon a couple of seasons, and he has done really, really well. I think he scored 31 goals last season for Sporting Lisbon, and he's exceeded expectation levels in his couple of years with Sporting Lisbon. He hasn't, really played to the highest level as yet. This is why reports came out, was it last week, saying that Ed Woodward was hesitant over our transfer move for Bruno Fernandes. He did basically say, well, let's be honest, Ed Woodward has got reservations about, us spending big on players. He has got reservations about that, who he doesn't think are going to step up to the plate at Manchester United. But I do believe Bruno Fernandes would step up to the plate. He's had a good couple of seasons with Sporting Lisbon, and I do believe he can replicate this, of course, at Manchester United. Reportedly, Manchester United are prepared to pay up to around £71 million for his services. I think this is what initially Sporting Lisbon are demanding for him. His initial release clause is around £86 million. He's under contract with Sporting Lisbon until 2023. But like I said, he's a really, really good player. He'll fit Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's transfer strategy perfectly. He's only had 24 years of age. He has still got a hell of a lot of years ahead of him as Bruno Fernandes. So I do believe he can exceed expectation levels in the Premier League. Obviously, reports came out from the Portuguese press, was it last week, basically saying that, Tottenham had entered the race. It also said Liverpool had expressed their interest. Obviously, Tottenham are seeing Bruno Fernandes as an alternative, to Giovanni Lo Celso, because I think Giovanni Lo Celso has been Tottenham's, priority target, one of their priority targets. But reports came out, was it last month, saying Tottenham had put a bid in of around 53 million, but Real Betis, of course, turned this bid down. Obviously, Christian Eriksen's linked to a move to Real Madrid, and obviously, if Christian Eriksen goes, Tottenham are going to want a replacement for him. So there's been quite a few midfielders on Tottenham's agenda. Obviously, they're going in for Tanguy Ndombele from Lyon. Obviously, Manchester United are also in for Tanguy Ndombele from Lyon. Very, very young, only 22 years of age. Very good compassive midfielder is Tanguy Ndombele. I believe that also Juventus are in for Tanguy Ndombele, so there's quite a few teams in there for him. But yeah, there's quite a few midfielders on Tottenham's agenda. Like I said, Liverpool have showed their interest in Bruno Fernandes. Obviously, I don't think he'll go to Liverpool anywhere, but I think he would fit Liverpool's system perfectly. Liverpool and that can offer him Champions League football. Tottenham can offer him Champions League football, but it's been mainly Manchester United and Manchester City that have been battling out for Bruno Fernandes. Obviously, it came out the other week saying that City have withdrawn their interest. They have now pulled out of the race for Bruno Fernandes. So basically now Manchester City are no longer interested. He did initially say City were only willing to offer around £47 million for him. He did say City were willing to offer a couple of their players as part of the deal and all that, but we want to get the deal finalised for Bruno Fernandes. So I still believe we are in the ascendancy of getting the players' signature. So it's looking likely he will be our second signing this summer. But I do like him a lot. He's primarily an attacking midfielder. So I think we want Bruno Fernandes. Regardless of what happens with Paul Pogba, I still think we want to get Bruno Fernandes on the board. squad and all that. But obviously, we would see him as the adequate replacement, for Paul Pogba, of course, if Paul Pogba is to leave Manchester United. Obviously, as I updated you earlier on, in regards to Adrien Rabiot from PSG, now he's been a potential Manchester United target as Adrien Rabiot. I think it's looking very imminent. He's going to be leaving PSG. The beneficial thing about this is obviously no team would have to pay any transfer fee for Adrien Rabiot. Obviously, he's a free agent this summer. Obviously, he's coming to an end of his contract. Obviously, hasn't played one game for PSG this year. Obviously, he had been withdrawn from the PSG squad last year, back in December. He got withdrawn from the squad by Thomas Tuchel, based on his refusal to sign a new contract. I can't see him now signing a new deal with PSG, so I do believe he's currently going to be leaving. But so many teams have inquired about his services. It does say Manchester United being in there. Obviously, Arsenal have inquired about his services, because actually Umar may want to reunite with the player, because obviously, Adrien Rabiot, flourished under Umar May's guidance when Umar May, was at PSG. It came out the other week saying that Everton were in talks to get him, but I don't think he'd want to go to Everton, Adrien Rabiot, because obviously Everton can't offer him any European football. Quite a few teams have been in there for Adrien Rabiot. It came out the other week saying that, we'd offered him a lucrative contract, worth up to around £170,000 a week, and I think, signed non-fee of around, £10 million a year. So obviously that does equate to around £170,000 a week, but he did say Manchester United, were willing to meet his salary demands. I think he has still refused to rule out a move to Old Trafford. Adrien Rabiot, he's 24 years of age. I think he's primarily a central midfield. I think he can play in various positions in that midfield, but I think primarily a central midfielder and all that. But now reports have been coming out today, as I've been reading up about Adrien Rabiot. I think I updated you about this on my previous video. It did basically say that he's confirmed as Adrien Rabiot that he's in negotiations with Juventus over the transfer to the Italian Giants this summer. So I do believe that Juventus are in for Adrien Rabiot, because I think he does. He said about Italy. I think he likes Italy. Does Adrien Rabiot, but he does say he has held negotiations with Juventus. Obviously, Juventus are expected to appoint Maurizio Sarri as their new manager. Like I did currently say. I think it's expected to be finalised fully within the next 24 hours. Obviously, Masmilio Allegri, stepped down as Juventus manager, and obviously, Sarri is returning back to Italy, of course, after only spending one season with Chelsea. With Chelsea, though, he did get them, he did get them to the Carabao Cup final, but they lost it. He won the Europa League and that with Chelsea, and obviously, got them third spot, and obviously, Chelsea are in the Champions League for next season. But obviously, Maurizio Sarri is going to be going to Juventus, and it's looking like Chelsea are going to appoint Frank Lampard as their manager. Obviously, Frank Lampard, obviously, it was only his first season in management, last season, obviously, with Derby, got them to the playoff final and all that. Obviously, Frank Lampard knows the culture of Chelsea and that, he knows the culture of the club, he knows the club inside out. Obviously, was a great player for them for 13 years. Obviously, their all-time leading goal scorer. So it's looking likely probably Lampard, will be going to Chelsea to replace Maurizio Sarri and all that. So that's been confirmed. But like I said there with Adrien Rabiot, he's been at PSG 8 years. He's been a long-serving player for them. He graduated from their youth system and all that. And I think he's played over 200 games for PSG. I think he has won 5 League One titles. I think he had a spell, with Manchester City, when he was younger. So he did have experience playing in Manchester. But I still believe it's looking like Adrien Rabiot's going. Maybe Juventus are in the tendency now of getting him, because he has been in negotiations with Juventus as Adrien Rabiot. Obviously, I updated you earlier on as well in regards to Ivan Matic from Barcelona. Now, I've got reservations about Ivan Matic, coming in, because obviously he wouldn't fit Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's transfer strategy anyway, because Solskjaer wants young players, and obviously, Ivan Matic, he's 31 years of age, of course, his age, we probably won't get that long out of him. Maybe we'll get probably a year or two out of Ivan Matic, but I don't want him at Manchester United. Don't get me wrong, he's had a really, really good career. Obviously, the majority of his silverware he has won has obviously, come at Barcelona. He's been at Barcelona 5 years as Ivan Matic. I don't think he's got any intentions of leaving Barcelona, but I think what's his name? Ernesto Valverde I think has confirmed that he's willing to let Ivan Matic leave Barcelona this summer, because he did say that he had a meeting with Barcelona's president, Ernesto Valverde, and it did basically say they're willing to let Ivan Matic go this summer if a team comes up with a suitable offer for him, and also if Barcelona can find an adequate replacement for Ivan Matic. But he is under contract with Barcelona until 2021. He can play as a central or an attacking attacking midfielder and all that. And I think it'd probably cost you around 40 million quid, would Ivan Rakitic. I think also Inter Milan have been in there for him. I think Manchester United have inquired about Ivan Rakitic's services, you know, quite a few times before. But like I said, I've got reservations about him coming to Manchester United, so I wouldn't, you know, want him to come in. But he's had a really, really good career, you know, don't get me wrong. But it says still Manchester United are strongly linked to him. I think Solskjaer's actually not keen on bringing Ivan Rakitic in. But like I said, you know, there were talks saying that anyway it could be surplus to requirements at Barcelona, because obviously, you know, Barcelona have got Frankie de Jong coming in, who they got from Ajax for around £65 million. So he could be surplus to requirements. And plus, I think there may be some other midfielders, you know, going to Barcelona. So obviously, he's going to find game time very, very difficult and all that. But like I said, I just wouldn't like to see, you know, Ivan Rakitic come to Manchester United. Obviously, before he was at Barcelona, I think he did serve quite a few years with Seville. I think he won the Europa League with Seville. Obviously, you know, before that, when he was younger, he had 3.5 years with Schalke, and obviously initially began his career with Basel as a youngster and all that. So I wouldn't want him now at Manchester United. I do believe Manchester United, of course, are in for him. Obviously, as I've been updating you on a regular basis as well about Wan-Bissaka now, I think he's going to be I think he'll be our next signing after Bruno Fernandes, possibly. Reportedly now, Manchester United have parents put around £50 million in for Wan-Bissaka. Recently, you know, we had a £40 million bid turned down for Wan-Bissaka. Looking at it, ultimately, you know, Crystal Palace are reluctant, you know, to sell Wan-Bissaka, because Crystal Palace know how much of an essential player he is to them. But I think initially Crystal Palace are demanding that they want around at least £60 million for him. And even if Wan-Bissaka, you know, doesn't leave Crystal Palace this summer, obviously, you know, at some point in his career, you know, he's going to want to take his footballing career to the next level. You know, he's going to want to rejuvenate his career. But he has still got a hell of a lot of years ahead of him as Wan-Bissaka. You know, I'm still quite sceptical, as I do keep saying about him, you know, coming to Manchester United. I don't think there's enough credibility in him as yet. You know, I think the BBC reported on it a few times. And I think, you know, there's been a lot of reports talking about, you know, Wan-Bissaka to Manchester United. He allegedly said to Crystal Palace, you know, he wants to join Manchester United this summer. So we are preparing to put a bid in for him of around £50 million. You know, he's proven him in the Premier League. I do believe he would be the right solution for Manchester United, because he is predominantly a right back. That's one of the pivotal areas where we do need to bolster up, because obviously, you know, we need a replacement for Antonio Valencia, we need an upgrade to Ash Young, and we need a cover up for Diego Ardella. Now Wan-Bissaka, you know, would be the right solution. Obviously, he made his senior debut for Crystal Palace in February of last year. So obviously, you know, last season, you know, established himself as a first team regular, and obviously he's made about 43 senior appearances, or is it 42 senior appearances he has made for Crystal Palace. He has still got 3 years left on his contract with Crystal Palace, Wan-Bissaka, but I think his defensive capabilities are very, very good, and I think he's got the abilities to elevate Manchester United at least in the next 2 to 3 years. Initially, when Wan-Bissaka was younger, obviously this is when, you know, he was in the youth system, you know, Crystal Palace. Obviously, I think he's been at Crystal Palace since at the age of 11. He was actually an out-and-out winning, you know, when he was younger, was Wan-Bissaka. But obviously, you know, then as he was developing, he got rotated as a right back, and I think he's regarded now as one of the best right backs in the Premier League. I think also, again, Tottenham have inquired about his searches. Obviously, Tottenham that could offer him Champions League football, but I think, you know, he wants to make the move to Old Trafford, allegedly. So whether Crystal Palace are willing to accept this £50 million bid or not, I do not know. But we have just recently had a £40 million bid turned down for Wan-Bissaka. So I think he'll follow Bruno Fernandes. So I think probably Wan-Bissaka, you know, will be our third signing. And like I've been updating you on a regular basis as well, in regard, you know, to Paul Pogba and Romelu Lukaku. Now, I think it's looking likely, you know, them two are going to be leaving. But I did actually say there was a possibility chance, you know, that they could remain at the football club, you know, based on the huge transfer fees that we have put on them. And Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, you know, he's working on keeping his imperative... He's working on keeping his imperative players at the football club, and obviously we do know Solskjaer knows how imperative, you know, Paul Pogba is and all that. But you know, with Paul Pogba, I think he's probably going to be leaving Manchester United, because obviously he's been subjected to a lot of transfer speculation. Obviously, from Paul Pogba's perspective, you know, he does want to leave the football club. I do believe his first choice preference is Real Madrid. It is Real Madrid and Juventus that are battling out for his current services and all that. But maybe the couple of main factors is why Paul Pogba, you know, wants to leave the club, because maybe he wants to be playing amongst better players. He wants to rejuvenate his career, wants to be in Champions League football, wants to be, you know, competing and, you know, winning stuff. And obviously, he's an experiencing this Manchester United, you know, Paul Pogba. So it is Juventus and Real Real Madrid that are battling out for his services. Obviously, recent reports have come out saying that the Juventus director has travelled to England, to London, to hold talks with Manchester United over re-signing, Paul Pogba and all that. So this is what it does basically say. But according to Damasio, who's an Italian journalist, he said that Juventus have begun negotiations with Manchester United. Obviously, I think it started out about this. Was it last week? Reports were emerging out saying that Juventus are interested in re-signing him. They've also been negotiations with his agent Raiola and all that, and Juventus have made initial contact with Manchester United. It did reportedly say, if we are willing to, sell Paul Pogba, to Juventus, it did say we are demanding Joe Cancelo as Joe Cancelo in exchange for Paul Pogba. I think he's actually being linked to a move to Manchester City as Joe Cancelo and all that. So whether Juventus will be willing to go along with this, I do not know. But more than likely, anyway, Juventus would have to offload at least one or two of their essential players, to fund the move for Paul Pogba, because I don't think Juventus, would be able to afford, to get Paul Pogba, am I right? So maybe Paul Pogba, would be open to making the return back to Turin. Don't forget, he did have 4 good years in Turin, exceeded expectation levels really, really well, but he hasn't really replicated this form, since he made the return to Manchester United and all that. Obviously, we paid £89 million for him, obviously our most expensive signing, and we saw, glimpses of Paul Pogba's best form, mainly in that 3-month period when Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was the interim manager and all that. That's when we saw the best of Paul Pogba, and we mainly saw the best of Pogba, when Ander Herrera was playing, so that just emphasises how much of an impact, Ander Herrera made, because he freed up Paul Pogba, and that, Pogba was scoring goals, he was providing, and he was in absolutely, scintillating form and all that. But I still believe, if he leaves, he'll probably end up making the move to Real Madrid, because obviously Paul Pogba did say that at some point in his career he wants to play for Real Madrid, and obviously Zinedine Zidane is a big admirer of the player. Obviously Real Madrid have got 5 players on the board so far this summer. They've got Eden Hazard from Chelsea, obviously they've got what's his name, Luka Jovetic from Frankfurt. Also they've got I think they've got Mendy, was it from Lyon if I can remember rightly, and they also so they've got Mendy. Well, I think they've got 5. They've got Mendy, they've got Eden Hazard, they've got Luka Jovetic from Frankfurt, and they've also, I think they also got as well, I've just remembered Eddie Militao, and they also, got someone else, but I can't remember who that was. So obviously now they're going to focus on getting a deal over the line for Paul Pogba. Obviously it's going to help Zinedine Zidane with his rebuilding project and all that. But like I said, Paul Pogba's still got 2 years left on his contract with Manchester United. I think there's an option of a further year. Obviously it came out the other week saying that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was willing to offer him the captaincy in a bid, to convince him to remain at the football club and all that. But we do know Paul Pogba's agent Raiola has been in the process of finding Paul Pogba a new club now, at least in the last 5 or 6 years. So he can reunite with Juventus now, can Paul Pogba, because actually I think it did say that his agent Raiola, was actually suspended. I think he was suspended, wasn't he? Or did he get some kind of transfer ban, if I can remember rightly? So I think he got a transfer ban from doing any transfer business in Italy for next 3 months. But reportedly now, I think it's been lifted now, this ban. So so I don't think he's no longer got a ban now, as his agent Raiola. He didn't really provide a reason why at the time why he did get this ban, but obviously it must have been appealed, and now obviously the ban has been uplifted and all that, so he can make the return to Juventus. But like I said, Solskjaer knows how imperative Paul Pogba is and all that, and obviously Paul Pogba was subjected to a lot of transfer speculation last year, based on his poor relationship with Jose Mourinho, and obviously Paul Pogba got one of his best wishes, when Jose Mourinho of course left the club. Obviously with us he's won the Europa League, he's won the League Cup, obviously that came in Jose Mourinho's first season and all that, but he hasn't really been the fundamental player as we all thought he would have been. Initially we want around £150 million for Pogba, but obviously Real Madrid are reluctant to pay this, so I think Real Madrid are orchestrating something out. I think it did initially say the other week, or was it some early on this week, Real Madrid were willing to offer Gareth Bale in a transfer offer for Paul Pogba, but Paul Pogba could be still part of the deal with Bale, to be quite honest with you. Like I said, Manchester United have got reservations about bringing Bale in permanently, so we don't want to get Gareth Bale permanently, even though reports recently came out saying that we've inquired about getting Gareth Bale on loan. He did say we was happy to pay his wages off and all that, and we inquired about getting him on loan. Potentially, we want to get. He did say we want to get him on a long season loan, but potentially it's 2 seasons, because he did say there's an option to extend the deal by a further year. But this could be beneficial for Real Madrid. This could knock £50 million off their wage bill in the next couple of seasons. But yeah, like I said, we're not keen on getting Gareth Bale Bale permanently. Obviously, because he's injury prone and all that. He's aging up. He's 29. He's nearly 30 years of age now. He's Gareth Bale, and he's been relentlessly, linked to a move to Old Trafford since 2013, and the rumours, of course, have continued to persist there since then. But he's been at Real Madrid 6 years. He's won about 13 major honours, including 4 Champions Leagues and all that. And obviously, his ratio, even though he's injury prone though, Bale, his ratio is still good. Scored 102 goals in 231 games for Real Madrid, and I think he's provided about 64 assists. But he has been inconsistent in the last couple of seasons with Real Madrid. He has got 3 years left on his contract, but Zinedine Zidane has confirmed, he wants to get rid of Gareth Bale because he's no longer in his plans at Real Madrid, as Zinedine Zidane said. And Zinedine Zidane said Gareth Bale doesn't have a future at Real Madrid. So basically, he is served his 2 requirements. Bale doesn't want to leave Real Madrid, like I said. But yeah, Manchester United don't want to get him permanently. Initially, Real Madrid said they want 75 million, but obviously, Manchester United are not willing to pay that. Tottenham are not willing to pay that. But yeah, so basically Real Madrid are looking to recoup the majority of the money that they did pay for him from Tottenham back in 2013, because Real Madrid paid £85 million for him from Tottenham back in 2013. So we have inquired about getting Gareth Bale on loan, but we wouldn't want to get him permanently, of course. And so possibly Bale could be still part of the deal with Paul Pogba and all that. So it is Juventus and Real Madrid that are battling out for Paul Pogba. Obviously, as I've been updating you on a regular basis as well, in regards to Romelu Lukaku. Obviously, it's looking very imminent now. He's going to be leaving Manchester United. Obviously, recent reports have come out saying now that Inter Milan have agreed personal terms with Romelu Lukaku, and these terms, could see Lukaku earn around 6.6 million in bonuses until 2024. So I think initially he must have agreed around a 5-year deal with Inter Milan. Like I just said, the personal terms of that have been agreed. Inter Milan are willing to meet his wage demands, but obviously, they have not. Inter Milan and Manchester United have not yet come to an agreement on an initial fee. So potentially, it does say, we want around £62 million at least for Lukaku, but Inter Milan and Manchester United are, still negotiating about a potential fee, to get the deal fully finalised. But I think Inter Milan are reluctant, to pay up to around £62 million, because I think Inter Milan, rate him at around £50 million. Reports came out a couple of weeks ago saying that we was demanding around £80 million for Romelu Lukaku. So basically, either way, we're looking to recoup the majority of the money that we did pay for him from Everton, back in 2017, because obviously, we got him for £75 million. Obviously, there were several add-ons included in the deal of around £15 million, which had initially, risen to £90 million. Obviously, he has still got 3 years left on his contract as Romelu Lukaku. But yeah, so we did spend a big on Lukaku. He's been at Manchester United, 2 years. I think he scored 42 goals in 96 games in all competitions for the club. Obviously, did well in his first season, but enjoyed a really difficult second season with the club, because obviously now, Rashford's first choice ahead of him, as Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has confirmed, and obviously, Lukaku is reluctant, to play back up to Marcus Rashford. So yeah, I think Lukaku, does want to make the move to Inter Milan. Obviously, Antonio Conte has identified him as his number one target. Reflecting back a couple of years ago, Antonio Conte, wanted Romelu Lukaku. This is when he was a Chelsea manager, of course, but obviously, Lukaku had made the move to Manchester United. So potentially, as you all know, anyway, I've got strong reservations about Lukaku. His first touch concerns me. He's not mobile enough. He's a big game bottler. He hasn't really got that endless potential. And like I said, he's initially lost his place in the squad, and it came out a few weeks ago saying that Manchester United have told Lukaku that he can't currently leave. So I think it will be beneficial if we can cash in for him. I think it will help us with our rebuilding process, and of course it will help us out with our transition. But he's 26 years of age as Lukaku. He's in his prime. He's still got a hell of a lot of development in him. So maybe he wants to rejuvenate his career and wants to go to a team that can show him first team football. And Inter Milan will be able to do this, but Manchester United can no longer show him first team football, because like I said, Rashford is Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's first choice. Under Mourinho, Lukaku got more of a chance because he was first choice under Mourinho, but he's not Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's first choice. He's Romelu Lukaku. But like I said, initially everything else has been agreed. They're still negotiating on a fee. It did come out quite a few weeks back saying that Lukaku had been in Italy, negotiating with Inter Milan's representatives over getting a deal finalised. But like I said, Antonio Conte has identified Lukaku as his number one target. Reports came out earlier on this week saying that Inter Milan had offered Ivan Perisic as part of a swap deal for Romelu Lukaku, but reportedly Manchester United had turned this down because Ivan Perisic is no longer a Manchester United target. He was Jose Mourinho. He was a long-term target under Jose Mourinho, but obviously he's no longer now a Manchester United target. Is Ivan Perisic, of course. So we refused that. Obviously, Cardiff Icardi's been spoken, Icardi's been mentioned that he could be part of the deal with Lukaku. I think Icardi's been offered to Manchester United, but reportedly Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is not keen on bringing him in. So I think Lukaku, will end up leaving the club. Obviously, all they've got to do now is come to an agreement on the initial fee. I think it also said the other week as well, Inter Milan, need to raise around £40 million before the end of this month, to meet financial fair play regulations. So I did say that could be a possible stumbling block of Lukaku making his proposed move to Inter Milan. And so I think Lukaku, probably will be going. I think Darmian and Rojo are definitely going to be leaving Manchester United. That's looking very very likely. Obviously, they've both enjoyed difficult times at the club, so an estimated guess, we can get around £25 or £30 million, for Matteo Darmian and Marcus Rojo. Obviously, as I said, another problem with Manchester United, we have let far too many players' contracts run down. Obviously, that's been another issue. But like I said, one of our priority targets has been Matthijs de Ligt for Mike's. Obviously, I've been updating you about him on a regular basis because obviously he's been relentlessly linked to a move away from Ajax. He's been widely spoken about throughout the course of this window and all that, because it's looking very imminent. He's going to be leaving Ajax. I still think it remains uncertain where Matthijs de Ligt, will be applied his trade next season. But according to recent reports, I do believe that PSG are in the ascendancy. Obviously, the two teams that have been considered to be the favourites recently is obviously been Barcelona and PSG. But recent reports did say that Matthijs de Ligt has turned down Barcelona and all that. But I do believe now PSG are in the ascendancy. PSG have spent big on players in the last couple of seasons. Obviously, on Neymar and Mbappe. Obviously, the two most expensive players in world football and all that. And I think they've got their eye on, UEFA's financial fair play of PSG. Because, like I said, they have spent big in the last couple of seasons. But it did reportedly say that PSG have offered, Ajax around £70 million, including add-ons as well. They've offered £70 million to Ajax, including add-ons. And I think they've offered Matthijs de Ligt a 5-year contract worth around £340,000 a week and all that. But yeah, I think now PSG are in the ascendancy. But so many teams have inquired about his services. Matthijs de Ligt, like I said, has not yet, made a decision on his future. We do know Manchester United have been in there for him. But I think we're now set to miss out on him because obviously Matthijs de Ligt wants to go to a club that can offer him Champions League football, and I think he also wants to go to a club that can assure him first team football. And obviously Manchester United can't offer him Champions League football, but we could definitely assure him first team football and all. And we do know he would help us with our own rebuilding projects with Matthijs de Ligt. But I think we are now set to miss out on him. In terms of the transfer fees, he's probably going to cost you from 70 to 75 million pounds. We know Juventus have been in there for him, Bayern Munich were in for him, but now they've pulled out of the race. Obviously, Liverpool have been in there for him. Like I said, I think the main factor reason why Liverpool have been in for him because obviously they want to put him alongside Virgil van Dijk in their back line. Obviously Virgil van Dijk and Matthijs de Ligt have got a good relationship. Obviously they're both playing the Netherlands national team and they're both Dutch and all that, so they know each other really really well. I don't see him going to Liverpool. I think he'll go to PSG, and if he doesn't go to PSG, I think he'll go to Barcelona. But at least in the last couple of months anyway, Barcelona have been in the ascendancy, of getting Matthijs de Ligt. Obviously Sky Sports reported, was it 2 or 3 weeks ago now, saying that he was set to join Barcelona, and I think he's preferred, from his own preference, he wanted to make the move to Barcelona because maybe he wants to reunite with his current teammate Frankie de Jong and all that. But he didn't actually say, we had offered him a contract, worth up to about 350 grand a week. Obviously, that equates to almost £17 million a year. And obviously, if that did process, which I don't think it's going to now, it'd make him the highest paid teenager in world football. Also, make him one of the highest paid players at Manchester United and all that. And did say quite a few weeks back, he told his representatives he was willing to accept Manchester United's contract offer. But obviously, there has been a lot of change of scenery since then. But I do believe out of Barcelona and PSG are willing to offer better terms for Matthijs de Ligt than Barcelona are. And obviously, Barca, he did say, a lot of reports were speculating out saying initially Matthijs de Ligt's transfer to Barcelona is a done deal. The fee and that's been agreed, but obviously they were struggling to come to an agreement on the terms because Barcelona were not willing to meet what de Ligt was demanding and what, of course, his agent Raiola was demanding and all that. So I think he'll end up making the move to PSG. If he doesn't go to PSG, I think he'll make the move to Barcelona. But I think talks have been, going on. I think talks are expected to continue to persist, between, Raiola and the PSG sporting director, because Raiola has been in negotiations with PSG's sporting director, obviously over over getting a deal finalised. But I like him a lot. He's only 19 years of age. He's a centre-half. Like I said, I think we need two central defenders. But Mike Stillett's a really good player. And obviously, he's going to want to take his footballing career to the next level. He's going to want to rejuvenate his career. Obviously, he's become an integral part of Ike's squad. I think he's been there, senior squad now about, 2.5, 3 years. Obviously, got named captain at the age of 18. Obviously, made his senior debut at just the age of 17 and all that. Obviously, became the first defender to win the Golden Boy Award last year. I think, Matty Stillett's made about, 117 or 118 senior appearances. So I do really, really like him a lot. And he's been an Ike's player since, the age of 8, the age of 9. So he did, graduate from Ike's youth system. But like I said, I think he'll either make the move to PSG or Barcelona. And like I keep saying, I think we need two central defenders because clearly, Smalling and Jones are not good enough for Manchester United. They have been two long-serving players at the club. Smalling's been here 9 years, Jones has been here 8 years, but they're too inconsistent now. Plus they're aging up. I've got strong reservations about them. And obviously, it was a bad mistake for Manchester United, giving them two new long-term contracts and that. We've got Eric Bay, but he's now initially lost his place in the team. Like I said, his Manchester United career has been affected. The amount of injuries he's sustained, and obviously, his fallout under managers. His Manchester United career has been, affected badly. So it would be beneficial if we could, cash in for Eric Bay. But so many central defenders on our agenda, like I said. But I think we're set to miss out on Matty Stillett. There is still talks of Harry Maguire, going on from Leicester now. Harry Maguire, I think Manchester United, may be willing to pay up to 80 or 90 million pounds for his services. Even though, from my own perspective, I don't think he's worth 80 or 90 million pounds. Harry Maguire. Well, let's be honest, no player, of course, is worth that. But it is Manchester United and Manchester City that are battling now for Harry Maguire. He's proven in the Premier League and all that is Harry Maguire, and that is very, very beneficial. He's, he's British and all that. He's 26. He has still got a lot of years ahead of him. So basically, Leicester don't want to sell Harry Maguire. This is why they've priced him out of the transfer market. This is why they're demanding an extortionate amount for him. He's been at Leicester a couple of seasons. I think Leicester got him from Hull City for around 17 million pounds. But he's done really, really well with Leicester. But I think at some point in his career, he's going to want to rejuvenate his career. He's going to want to take his footballing career to the next level. But obviously, City are in for him because they're seeing Harry Maguire as a replacement for Vincent Kompany. I think they've identified Harry Maguire as their number one target to replace Vincent Kompany. But Harry Maguire signed a new long-term contract with Leicester last summer, so he's under contract with them now until 2023. So I think he's made about 101 appearances in the Premier League. So there has been a lot of talks about Harry Maguire going on. I do believe he'd blend in alongside Victor Lindelof in our backline really, really well, if he was to come to Manchester United. But yeah, there has been a lot of talks about him going on. But if Man United and City were willing to pay 80 million or 90 million pounds for it, making the most expensive defender in world football, and obviously making the most expensive English player of all time. So whether Man United and City would be willing to pay that or not, I do not know. But I don't think that price tag has actually put Manchester United off for going for Harry Maguire. So I don't think he's been a main price tag for Manchester United, but I still believe Manchester United are in for him. But obviously Manchester United were in for Harry Maguire last summer, and we had loads of central defenders on our agenda last summer because that was our priority to get a central defender in. But obviously last summer the board weren't backing the signs that Jose Mourinho wanted to recommend to come in. Obviously Harry Maguire was one of the players that Jose Mourinho of course wanted. So it is United and City that are battling out for his services. Obviously, I've been updating you on a regular basis as well about Antoine Griezmann. Well, about Antoine Griezmann now, his future remains uncertain. Obviously, he made an admission that he's going to be leaving Atletico Madrid last month, so he's definitely going to be leaving. He looks destined, to make the move to Barcelona. The Antoine Griezmann, but now obviously recent reports have said, Barcelona have got reservations about they're stalling on the move for Griezmann. They've got second thoughts about bringing Griezmann. Even I think initially Griezmann did want to make the move to Barcelona. I think he's increasingly become frustrated, with Barcelona saying, that they don't want him and all that. But yeah, I think it does say now, Manchester United have made initial contact with Griezmann over a potential move and all that. And I think it did reportedly say yesterday that we are set to hijack Barcelona's move for Griezmann. It did say we were willing to even smash our own transfer record by offering around £95 million for his services. And whether Griezmann would come to the Premier League or not, I do not know. Obviously, he hasn't played in the Premier League as yet because he has spent the entirety of his career in Spain. He's been at Atletico Madrid 5 years. Obviously, initially, began his career at Real Sociedad. So if he goes to Barcelona, obviously he's going to continue playing his trade in Spain and all that. He was on the verge of joining Barcelona last summer, obviously, but he didn't join Barcelona because he signed a new long-term contract with Atletico Madrid. Obviously, he's under contract with them until 2023. Obviously, his initial release clause is around 170 odd million pounds, but obviously, at the beginning of next month, his release clause, does reduce to around 105 or 106 million pounds. But like I said, Man United were on the verge of getting him a couple of years ago, but due to the transfer ban Atletico Madrid got, he's moved to Manchester United and never materialised. So, like I said, I probably wouldn't want Griezmann to come to Manchester United now anyway. He's 28 years of age. Don't get me wrong, he's still got a lot of development in him, and, he can score goals, and, he can lead the lines, as he's demonstrated in his years there with Atletico Madrid. But I don't think he's a fundamental player as he was a couple of years ago, and I wouldn't be keen on us, spending, nearly £100 million on Griezmann, when I'd rather spend that £100 million on João Felix from Benfica, because João Felix is 9 or 10 years younger than Griezmann, and obviously he's got a hell of a lot more development than Antoine Griezmann. So, like I said, I wouldn't be keen on us bringing him in. I don't think he'd come to Manchester United anywhere, but Man United are in for him. He may come to United, I don't know, but Griezmann and Paul Pogba have got a great relationship. But I think if Griezmann did come to United, I don't think it'd probably persuade Paul Pogba to remain at the football club, even though they have got a good relationship, Pogba and Griezmann, because they are both French and all that. But yeah, I just don't see how it would convince Paul Pogba to remain at the football club. We have got João Felix. I like João Felix a lot, and it is Manchester United and Manchester City that are in there for João Felix. Like I said, his buyout clause is 105 million. I think Benfica have said basically made it clear if they're willing to sell him, Man United and City have got to trigger his buyout clause, and I think United and City are willing to trigger his buyout clause. He can play in various positions. João Felix, so very versatile indeed. He's primarily an attacking midfielder, can also play as a winner, a striker, and a secondary striker. So very, very versatile, and I think Man United have been scouting, João Felix, since January, and the rumours he's been relentlessly, linked to a move away from Benfica since January. Quite a few teams have been in there for him. Us, City, Real Madrid, Liverpool inquired about getting him in January. So I do really, really like this player a lot. Last season was his first season in the senior squad with Benfica. Obviously, has not yet made his senior debut with Portugal. Only 19 years of age. I'd rather spend £100 million on him than I would, of course, on Antoine Griezmann. So yeah, that's mainly everything to update you with. Like I said, we have got a release list of around 14 players, of course. Obviously that includes Herrera. Obviously, it includes Antonio Valencia and all that. With De Gea, I still think he's probably going to be leaving Manchester United. I've already given you the latest news about De Gea. Obviously, it's likely he'll probably end up making the move to PSG. Obviously, reports came out the other day saying that we was preparing to offer David De Gea a new contract. After reports came out the other week saying that we had a final contract offer turned down for him by David De Gea and all that. But like I said, if De Gea goes, we're going to need to buy a goalkeeper to replace him. With Juan Mata, people are saying that Juan Mata, of course, needs to go. But yeah, recent reports said, that we've offered him a new contract. I've already given you the latest news about him. Like I said, I think we need a holding midfielder. Matic isn't good enough, too inconsistent. I think he needs to go. Scott McTominay way too inexperienced. Fellaini, left back in January. So we need to address that midfield without a shadow of a doubt. And I think we need someone who can score goals from that midfield. And I think, Bruno Fernandes, would be the right solution, definitely. So I think it's imminent that he's going to be our second signing this summer. So it's very imperative that we get him on the board. But yeah, talking about, having Matic, Man United did in for him and all that. I said I've got reservations about bringing him in, reflecting on his age. He's 31. I just don't think he'd succeed in the Premier League game, in my opinion. Don't get me wrong, he's had a great career. He's done really well with Barcelona and all that. And obviously he's never played in the Premier League anywhere. So I just don't think he'd fit, our system at Manchester United. And I just don't think he'd do well in the Premier League game, Ivan Matic. So basically, we do know Barcelona are looking to offload him. He probably cost around £40 million. That's quite cheap. But obviously, like I said, he's 31 years of age and all that. Giving you the latest news about Rabiot, like I said, he's now reportedly in negotiations with Juventus over the possible move to, over the possible transfer to the Italian Giants and all that. So maybe Juventus are now considered as the favourites. But there's so many teams that are in there for Adrian Rabiot. Manchester United, I still believe, are in there for him. But yeah, and that's mainly everything to update today. I think on that left-hand side, though, we are okay. The majority of our attack is coming from the left-hand side. I'll say we've got Daniel James in now. Obviously, we'll probably put Daniel James on that left-hand side because that's where he's supposed to be more effective. You can put him on the right, you can put him as attacking mid, but I think Man United will probably put Daniel James on the left. But obviously, it's essential now that we've got to assure Daniel James first-team football and all that. We've paid £15 million for him. Obviously, there's been the initial add-ons including the deal, which initially, visited around 17 or £18 million. But Daniel Daniel James is taking a huge step in his career, coming from the Championship, to the Premier League and all that. And has he got the abilities and the minerals, to make it to the highest level? And now, time's going to tell. He has signed a 5-year deal with the club with an option to extend it by a further year. And I think this 5-year contract is worth around £67,000 a week and all that. So yeah, he's our first current signing. So like I said, want to build on that now, get another 4 or 5 players in. So like I said, Bruno Fernandes to be the second, hopefully Aaron Wan-Bissaka to be the third and all that. Hopefully get a central defender in as well, very, very imperative, and we'll see what happens. So anyway, drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider a subscribe as always, and take care, God bless, and I'll see you all again very, very soon. Thanks for watching.